Milo wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at the small screen in the freighter office. The contract was simple. Deliver supplies from the outer colonies to the central hub. It promised enough credits to pay for Lear's schooling and a few extra things for their home. Milo had taken many jobs before, but this one felt different. It was routine, quiet, and above all, it paid well. That was enough for him. Lyra bounced into the office, his small backpack slung over one shoulder. He had messy brown hair and bright eyes full of curiosity. "Dad, are we going on a real freighter?" he asked, his voice full of excitement. Milo smiled and ruffled his son's hair. "Yes, Lyra, it is a real freighter, and we will see a lot of space. But remember, we are here to work, not play." The freighter's corridors smelled faintly of oil and metal. Milo led Lyra to their small cabin. It was tiny, with just the bunks and a small storage locker. Lyra jumped on one of the bunks, testing its springiness. Milo laughed softly. "Try not to break anything." They barely had time to settle when the announcement came over the intercom. "Incoming passenger. Prepare for arrival." Milo frowned. He had not expected any passengers. The freighter had been scheduled for a cargo run only. Curious, he followed the crew to the docking bay. There, standing beside a small shuttle, was a young alien girl. Her skin shimmered with faint green patterns, and her eyes were bright and alert. She looked around quickly, as if expecting trouble. "Who is she?" Lyra whispered. Milo put a finger to his lips. "I don't know, Lyra. Stay close to me." The captain approached, speaking in a low voice. "Her name is Vela. She is wanted by the Empire. We were ordered to pick her up and deliver her to the central system. She is difficult to handle, but we have orders." Milo's stomach sank. He had no intention of getting involved with the Empire. They had enough trouble just trying to survive on their own. He noticed the fear in Vela's eyes, but also a spark of determination. She was young, like Lyra, yet she seemed capable and aware of danger. As the crew led her inside, Lear's curiosity overcame him. He approached the girl, speaking softly. "Hi, I'm Lyra. I won't hurt you." Vela studied him carefully. For a moment, she seemed uncertain. Then she nodded slightly. "I'm Vela. Thank you." Milo observed silently, noting the calm bravery in her voice. He wondered why the Empire wanted her so badly. Something about her presence felt important. Lyra reached for her hand, but she hesitated. Then, with a small smile, she allowed it. The freighter lifted off from the station, leaving a trail of light in the void. Milo guided Lyra back to their cabin. "Stay calm, Lyra. Don't draw attention," he instructed. Lyra nodded, his mind racing with questions about the girl who was now part of their journey later. Milo found Vela in the cargo hold. She was examining the crates, moving with caution. "You should not be here alone," he said quietly. Vela turned, her eyes sharp. "I do not want trouble. I just want to survive." Milo considered her words. "We all want that," he replied. He realized that their goals were aligned in some way. She needed protection, and he wanted to protect his son. Perhaps together, they could help each other. That night, Milo lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. Lyra was asleep beside him, occasionally muttering Vela's name in his dreams. Milo's mind kept returning to the alien girl. How dangerous could she be? And why did the Empire want her so badly? He shook his head. For now, they were just passengers, together on the same freighter. Tomorrow, he would need to decide how much risk he was willing to take. The next day, while Milo checked the ship's systems, Lyra found Vela alone again. "Why are they chasing you?" Lyra asked, curious and concerned. Vela sighed and looked out the window at the stars. "I do not know all the reasons, but the Empire believes I have something important. I just want to find safety." Lyra nodded, his small hands gripping the edge of the railing. "You can stay with us. My dad will protect us all." Vela's eyes softened. "I'm grateful, Lyra. You have a brave heart." Milo watched from a distance, feeling pride for his son. He also felt a twinge of fear. By keeping Vela safe, they were now involved in something much larger than a simple delivery job. He could sense the danger approaching, even if he did not yet know its form. As the freighter traveled through the outer colonies, Milo began to notice signs that the Empire was already tracking them. Small ships appeared at the edge of sensor range. Communication channels picked up encrypted signals. The freighter captain tried to stay calm, but Milo could see tension in his every move. Milo gathered Lyre and Vela in a small meeting area. "Listen carefully. Things may get dangerous. We need to stick together. Lyre, you must stay close to me at all times. Vela, you will follow our lead. Can you do that?" Both children nodded firmly. Milo felt a surge of determination. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. He realized that protecting Vela was not just about credits or duty. It was about doing what was right. As the freighter continued its journey through the stars, Milo could not help but feel that this job, which had seemed ordinary, was about to change their lives forever. Lyre's eyes shone with excitement and hope, and Vela's presence added a sense of mystery and courage. Milo held their hands, silently promising that they would face the challenges ahead with bravery and heart. The stars stretched endlessly outside the freighter windows, and Milo understood that their journey was only beginning. The choices he made next would shape not only his son's future, but the fate of the girl now bound to them. For the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility mixed with the thrill of adventure. The freighter hummed steadily as it moved through a remote sector of space. Milo checked the navigation system again, making sure they were on a hidden route. The outer colonies were full of small, unpatrolled systems, and he hoped to lose any trackers there. Lyre was at the observation window, staring at the stars with wide eyes. Vela stood beside him, silent but alert, her bright eyes scanning the distant void. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed as the intercom crackled. "Incoming Empire ships detected. All crew prepare for inspection." Milo's heart sank. This was the moment he had feared. He grabbed Lyre's hand and pulled him toward the control room. Vela followed closely, her movements swift and precise. The freighter captain tried to maintain calm. "We must comply. They are heavily armed. Resistance could be fatal." Milo shook his head. "No, I am not handing her over. She is just a child, and she does not belong to them." The captain hesitated, but the approaching ships left no room for argument. The freighter shuddered as an enemy ship's tractor beam locked onto them. Milo quickly assessed the situation. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Any direct fight would be suicide. He turned to the small crew gathered around the control panels. "Listen carefully. We will not let them take her. We must use the systems they do not know about. Follow my lead." Lyre's eyes widened. "What can we do, Dad?" Milo gave a reassuring smile. "We improvise. You have watched me work with the mining drones before. Now, you need to trust me." The freighter shuddered as the first enemy ship fired a warning shot. Milo quickly activated the ship's old mining thrusters. They were rarely used, but they could create sudden bursts of speed to confuse the trackers. He guided the ship through a tight asteroid field, using the large rocks for cover. The Empire ships followed cautiously, unsure of the obstacles. Vela's face lit with understanding. "You are clever. You know how to survive in difficult places." Milo nodded. "We have to. There is no other choice." Lyre's small hands gripped the railing as the freighter spun and dodged. "I'm helping too, Dad," he shouted, pointing at the console. Milo allowed him to monitor the sensors, guiding them away from the largest asteroids. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the occasional alarm. The freighter was battered but still intact. The Empire ships had difficulty keeping up with the unpredictable maneuvers. Finally, Milo found a hidden jump point into a minor system rarely traveled by larger fleets. "We make the jump now," Milo said, pressing the controls. The stars stretched into long streaks as the freighter entered faster than light travel. When the jump ended, they found themselves in a quiet system filled with small, uninhabited planets. Milo exhaled in relief. "We are safe, for now, but we cannot stay here too long. They will track us eventually." Vela looked at Milo, her expression serious. "I have been running for a long time. I know the Empire never stops." Lyre stepped forward. Then we will stop them together. I'm not afraid. Milo felt pride and worry at the same time. Lyra was brave, but he was still a child. He placed a firm hand on his son's shoulder. We will do what we can, Lyra. You need to trust me and stay close. They landed on a small, rocky planet. Milo checked the scanners to ensure no ships were nearby. The surface was barren, with small caves and rocky ridges perfect for hiding. They carried supplies from the freighter and settled in one of the larger caves as night fell. Milo started a small fire using a portable reactor. Lyra sat beside him, and Vel watched silently, occasionally glancing at the cave entrance. Why? Is the Empire after you? Lyra asked, breaking the quiet. Vel aside. I possess knowledge they fear, knowledge that could change the balance of power. I never asked for this, but it is my burden. Milo nodded. We all have burdens, Vela. Sometimes we carry them because it is the right thing to do. You are not alone anymore. Lyra smiled at her. We will help you. You are a friend now. Vela's eyes softened. Thank you. You show courage. Beyond your years, Lyra. Milo felt a sense of hope. Despite the danger, a small family was forming in this hidden cave. Their trust in each other was growing, and it gave him the strength to face the Empire. The next day, they explored the planet carefully. Milo found small minerals and resources that could be useful if they needed to repair the freighter or make tools. Lyra and Vel gathered edible plants and examined the terrain. They learned quickly to avoid dangers like unstable cliffs and small predator creatures. In the evenings, Milo taught Lyra simple survival skills and ways to think strategically in life. It is not always strength that wins. Sometimes it is cleverness, patience, and understanding your environment. Lyra listened eagerly, absorbing every word. Vela joined in, teaching them some of her own knowledge about alien plants and navigation. Slowly, they formed a partnership. Milo realized that humans and aliens could work together, and that courage and intelligence were not limited to one species. As they sat around the fire one night, Milo looked up at the stars. This was supposed to be a simple job for credits. Now we are running for our lives, but we are learning, and we are together. That matters more than anything else. Vela nodded. The Empire will not give up easily. But I trust you, Milo. I trust Lyra. We will survive. Lyra's small voice broke the silence. And when we survive, we will be stronger. We can face anything. Milo smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. His son was growing braver every day, and Vel was learning to trust humans. They had faced danger together and survived, and that survival had forged a bond stronger than any fear. Outside the cave, the wind blew across the rocky terrain. Milo listened carefully for any sound of approaching ships. For now, the system was quiet, but the Empire's shadow loomed far away. He knew they could not stay here forever. Soon, they would have to move again. But for tonight, they were safe. Milo allowed himself a moment of rest. He watched Lyra sleeping beside Vela, and he felt the weight of responsibility mixed with the hope of adventure. Their journey had only just begun, but already, the choices they made would define their future. Milo was no longer just a miner taking a job for credits. He had become a protector, a teacher, and a guide. The freighter was more than a ship now. It was their home, their shield, and their gateway to freedom. The stars stretched endlessly above the rocky planet, and Milo realized that even in the darkest places, courage and loyalty could shine brightly. Tomorrow, they would face new challenges, but together, they could meet them. The Empire was powerful, but the heart of a family, strengthened by trust and bravery, was stronger. The small cave felt safe for a moment, but Milo knew it could not last. The Empire's reach was long, and they would not stop searching. He spent the morning checking the freighter's systems, making sure it was ready to move at a moment's notice. Lyra hovered nearby, eager to help, while Phil quietly observed the screens, her sharp eyes catching details Milo might have missed. We need a plan, Milo said finally. Hiding forever is not an option. We must be ready to move and defend ourselves if they find us. Vela nodded. I can help. I know how to avoid sensors and traps. I have survived longer than most humans could. Lyra looked up at her. Then we are lucky to have you. Can you teach me some of that? Vela smiled faintly. Yes, little one. You must learn to see without being seen. That is the first rule. The day passed quickly as Milo taught Lyra about basic navigation and survival skills. He showed him how to use the ship's scanners to detect hidden ships and how to analyze signals for danger. Lyra was quick to understand and even suggested a few clever ideas of his own. Milo felt proud of his son's sharp mind and quick thinking. Vela joined them in the afternoon, taking Lyra and Milo through exercises to move quietly and stay hidden. They practiced moving across rocky terrain, blending into shadows, and using natural features for cover. Lyra laughed as he tried to mimic Vela's graceful movements. I am hiding. You cannot see me, he whispered, though his laughter gave him away. You are improving, Vela said, smiling. Even humans can learn to be clever if they try. As the sun set, Milo looked out at the horizon, thinking about the journey ahead. He realized that survival was not just about running. It was about preparation, learning, and trust. He had to trust Vela to help them, and he had to trust Lyra to be brave when the time came. They were becoming a team. That night, as they ate a simple meal from the freighter's supplies, Milo noticed Vela staring at the ceiling, lost in thought. What worries you? He asked gently. Vela's eyes softened. I worry for you, for Lyra. The Empire does not stop. They are patient. They will use every tool they have to capture me. And now you are involved. I did not want to bring danger to others. Milo reached out and placed a hand on hers. We chose this together. You are not alone anymore. Lyra and I will face this danger with you. Lyra, sitting beside them, added confidently, we are a team. No one can take us down if we stay smart and brave. Vela's eyes shone with appreciation. She realized that humans were capable of loyalty and courage that even the most careful alien minds could underestimate. For the first time in a long while, she felt hope. The next day, Milo decided it was time to gather more information about the Empire's movements. Using the freighter's sensors, he scanned nearby systems for any signs of patrols or tracking signals. Vela helped him interpret the readings, showing him patterns in the transmissions that suggested the Empire was focusing on a larger sector nearby. We need to move soon, Milo said. They will find this planet eventually. If we stay too long, we risk being trapped. Vela agreed. We can travel to another hidden system. There are small colonies there that do not answer to the Empire. They may provide temporary shelter. Lyra's face brightened. Then we go on an adventure. We can see new worlds and learn new things. Milo laughed softly. Yes, but we must be careful. Adventure can be dangerous if we are not prepared. The group spent the rest of the day readying the freighter. Milo checked the engines, the shields, and the navigation systems. Lyra helped by organizing supplies and running small checks on the equipment. Vela worked silently but efficiently, her hands moving over consoles and controls with skill and precision. Milo realized that her experience was invaluable. They were stronger together than any of them could be alone. As they prepared to leave, Vela spoke quietly to Milo. I must tell you something. The Empire believes I have knowledge of a weapon. They do not know if it exists or if I can find it. But even the rumor is enough for them to chase me. You must understand the risk. Milo's jaw tightened. I understand. But we do not turn away from danger just because it is dangerous. We face it. Together, Lyra chimed in, full of determination. I am not afraid. We can handle anything if we stick together. The freighter lifted off from the rocky planet, leaving behind the temporary safety they had found. Milo set the course for the hidden colony system, moving carefully to avoid detection. The stars stretched ahead, silent and vast. But Milo could feel the weight of the Empire's presence even at this distance. During the journey, Vela shared small stories of her life before the Empire hunted her. She spoke of her home planet, its floating cities, and the quiet garden she loved. Lyra listened with fascination, asking questions about everything. Milo watched the two together, noting how the young boy's curiosity and the alien girl's knowledge were building a bridge between their worlds dot by the end of the day. Milo realized that trust had become their greatest tool. They trusted each other with their safety, their lives, and their hearts, and in return, they were stronger, smarter, and braver. Milo felt a quiet pride in Lyre, who had already begun to show the courage of someone much older than his years. As they neared the hidden colony, Milo contacted the reception channels in a secure way, using codes Vela had taught him. A small, friendly voice responded, confirming that they could dock safely. Relief washed over Milo. They would have temporary shelter, food, and a chance to rest. But he knew that the Empire was never far behind. Before landing, Milo looked at Lyre and Vela. We are safe for now, but remember, we cannot let our guard down. The Empire will not stop, and we must be ready for what comes next. Lyre nodded, determination clear in his eyes. Vela placed a hand on Milo's shoulder. We are ready. Together, we can face whatever comes. The freighter touched down on the hidden colony quietly, and Milo felt a small spark of hope. They had survived the first hunt, learned to trust one another, and prepared for the challenges ahead. Outside, the colony was small but full of life, a place where fugitives and explorers found shelter. It was a new beginning, a chance to grow stronger, and a reminder that courage and loyalty could shine in the darkest times. As Milo watched the stars above, he understood something important. The Empire might be powerful, but it underestimated the strength of ordinary people when they worked together, protected each other, and refused to give in to fear. His simple job for credits had turned into a mission for survival, trust, and heroism, and Milo, Lyre, and Vela were ready to face it all. The hidden colony was quiet under the light of two small suns. Milo, Lyre, and Vela moved carefully through the narrow streets, blending with the local residents. The colony was safe for now, a place where few outsiders ever came, but Milo knew this peace would not last. The Empire had vast resources and patience. If they discovered the colony, no one would escape easily. Milo checked the freighter from a small garage tucked behind the buildings. Its engines were ready, and the shields were functional. Lyre watched closely, learning each step his father took. One day, I will know all of this, Dad, he said, eyes shining with determination. Milo smiled. You will, Lyre. But for now, you must stay alert and follow instructions. Vela, walking slightly ahead, stopped suddenly. I sense them. Scouts of the Empire are near. Milo froze. His heart beat faster. He had hoped the hidden colony would by then time, but it seemed the Empire's reach was longer than he imagined. Where? He asked quietly. Vela pointed toward the far edge of the colony. Small ships, moving carefully. They are looking, not attacking yet. They want to find me without raising alarms. Lyre looked worried but nodded. What do we do? Milo thought quickly. We prepare. If they approach, we use what we know and what we have. We cannot run forever, but we can fight smart. The freighter's garage provided some advantage. Milo moved crates and machinery to create barriers and traps. Vela helped, suggesting ways to hide and create distractions. Lyra ran messages between them, carrying small tools and supplies. Milo realized how fast his son had grown in courage and skill. By late afternoon, the scouts were close enough to be seen. Small, sleek ships hovered near the colony's outskirts. Their lights scanned the streets carefully. Milo guided Lyre and Vela to the freighter. We stay inside and wait for the right moment. Do exactly as I say. Vela knelt beside him. I can help create a diversion if needed. But be careful. The Empire is clever. Milo nodded. I know, but we are ready. The first scout ship sent a small patrol down to the colony. Milo, Lyre, and Vela hid behind machinery and walls. The scout crew moved cautiously, looking for any signs of the fugitives. Milo signaled to Lyre, pointing at a set of small crates that could be triggered to create noise and distraction. Lyre understood immediately. He pressed a button, and a small explosion of light and smoke erupted from the crates. The scouts reacted quickly, moving toward the disturbance. Milo used this moment to slip closer to the freighter. ready to escape if the situation worsened. Vela moved with Milo, her knowledge of stealth helping them avoid detection. They will learn soon that we are not easy to catch, she said quietly. The scouts realized the trick and began searching the area more carefully. Milo signaled to Lyre and Vela. Time for the next step, using the freighter's old drones. Milo activated a series of automated devices. They created lights, noises, and small movements across different parts of the colony, confusing the scouts further. Lyre operated one of the consoles with skill, moving a drone in a pattern that led the scouts away from their location. Vela watched the movement patterns carefully. They are being lured. It is working, but we must act fast. Milo nodded and guided Lyre to the freighter's control room. We go now. We cannot let them find us. Start the engines quietly. Lyre followed. Hand steady as he activated the engines, Vela assisted, checking the scanners to make sure no one was following closely. Milo adjusted the shields and navigation systems, ready for the jump. The scout ships finally realized the deception and turned back, realizing the fugitives had vanished. Milo, Lyre, and Vela breathed a small sigh of relief, but Milo knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would continue hunting. They could never underestimate their enemies. As the freighter lifted off, leaving the hidden colony behind, Milo glanced at Lyre and Vela. You both did well. This is the first real test, and we survived it together. Lyre grinned. I knew we could. We are a team. Vela smiled faintly. Yes, humans can surprise me. You showed courage, Milo, and your son is remarkable. Milo felt a wave of pride. He realized that they were no longer ordinary people running from danger. They were becoming capable fighters, using intelligence and teamwork to outsmart a powerful enemy. The freighter jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving the immediate danger behind. Milo checked the navigation systems and set a course for a nearby uninhabited moon. We need a place to rest and plan our next move, he explained. The moon was small and rocky, but it offered natural cover and isolation. They landed and immediately began scouting for safe shelters. Milo taught Lyre to identify natural hiding places, and Vela shared knowledge about alien terrain that helped them move silently across the surface. As night fell, Milo sat with Lyre and Vela near a small fire. Today was dangerous, but we learned something important. The Empire is strong, but we are clever. If we trust each other and act as one, we can survive anything. Vela nodded. I have been running alone for too long. I forgot what it means to trust someone. Now I remember. I trust you both. Lyre smiled brightly. Then we are unstoppable. Milo allowed himself a small laugh. Not unstoppable, but brave. And brave is enough when combined with cleverness and heart. The three of them sat quietly, listening to the wind on the rocky moon. Milo reflected on how much they had grown in a short time. Lyre had learned courage and quick thinking, and Vela had learned to trust humans again, together. They were stronger than they had been alone. Outside, the stars shone brightly across the vast sky. Milo felt the weight of the journey ahead, but also the strength of the bond they had formed. They had faced their first confrontation and survived. The Empire would return, but they were ready to face it. Milo looked at Lyre and Vela, feeling hope and determination. Whatever comes next, we face it together. That is our greatest strength. Vela placed a hand on Milo's shoulder. And our courage will guide us. Lyre nodded, eyes bright with excitement and determination. I am ready for anything. Milo smiled. He realized that a simple job for credits had turned into a fight for survival, trust, and heroism, and together, they would meet every challenge the Empire sent their way. The freighter floated silently above the small moon. As Milo prepared for the next step of their journey, they could not stay hidden forever. The Empire would continue searching, and sooner or later, they would need help. Milo had heard rumors of out-of-colony rebels groups of people who resisted the Empire in secret. They were careful, resourceful, and sometimes willing to protect fugitives like Vela. Dad, do you think we can really find help? Lyre asked, looking out the freighter window at the distant stars. Milo placed a hand on his son's shoulder. It will not be easy, Liar. But we have no choice. We need allies if we want to survive. Vela, standing beside him, crossed her arms and looked serious. I know some of these rebels. They are cautious, but they can be trusted if we prove ourselves. Milo nodded. Then we go. We must approach carefully. If the Empire has agents in the area, we cannot risk being discovered before we reach them. They set course for the first known rebel station, a hidden base on a small asteroid. The journey was tense. Milo and Lyre monitored the sensors while Vela kept track of any unusual signals or transmissions. Ours passed with careful silence, interrupted only by the freighter's steady hum and occasional adjustments to the navigation. When the asteroid appeared on the scanner, Milo instructed Lyre to stay ready. We approached slowly. Do not react to anything until I say so. The freighter moved through a narrow tunnel in the asteroid, emerging into a hidden bay. Small ships of various sizes were docked there, and figures moved quickly across the surface. Milo contacted the reception channel using the secret codes Vela had taught him. A voice responded cautiously. State your purpose. Who approaches the rebel station? Milo's voice was steady. I am Milo, traveling with my son Lyre and a companion in need of protection. We seek temporary shelter and assistance. There was a pause, and then the voice replied, Dock carefully. We will observe before allowing entry. Milo guided the freighter down to the bay. They were watched closely as they landed. Figures approached, armed but not hostile. Milo kept his hands visible, and Lyre stayed close to him. Vela walked confidently, her knowledge of rebel protocols showing in her calm movements. Once docked, they were led inside a small command room. The leader of the station was a tall woman named Rena, with sharp eyes and a commanding presence. Vela, she said, nodding. It has been a long time. You are still alive. That is a surprise. Vela bowed slightly. Rena, I had no choice. The Empire was closing in, and I needed to find safety for myself and my companions. Rena studied Milo and Lyre. And you brought a human and a child into this. That is bold and dangerous. Milo spoke firmly. They are not just passengers. We are willing to help. If that is what it takes to survive, we need your protection. And we are ready to prove ourselves. Rena nodded slowly. Very well. You will be observed and tested. The Empire does not forgive mistakes. Over the next few days, Milo, Lyre, and Vela worked alongside the rebels. Milo used his knowledge of mining, piloting, and mechanics to repair ships and maintain equipment. Lyre helped with communications and learned quickly how to interpret signals and detect possible threats. Vela assisted with tactical planning. Sharing her knowledge of the Empire's strategies and weaknesses, Rena watched closely, testing their courage and intelligence. She was impressed by Milo's quick thinking, Lyre's courage, and Vela's resourcefulness. The trio proved themselves capable, and slowly, Rena began to trust them. One evening, as the station rested under the artificial lights, Milo spoke with Vela privately. We cannot stay here forever. The Empire is patient, and they may track us even to this place. Vela nodded. I know, but we gain time here. We learn, we prepare, and we gain allies. That is valuable. We will leave only when we are ready. Lyre joined them, carrying a small toolkit. I helped fix one of the scout drones. Rena said it works perfectly now. Milo smiled at his son. Good work, Lyre. You are becoming very skilled. That skill will save lives one day, maybe even ours. Vela placed a hand on Lyre's shoulder. You are brave, little one. Do not forget that. Courage is just as important as skill. The next day, the rebels received word that the Empire had intensified their search. A squadron of ships was moving through nearby systems, scanning for any signs of fugitives. Milo, Lyre, and Vela prepared for the possibility of battle. The rebels had made fortifications and traps on the asteroid, but Milo knew that clever tactics and quick thinking would be just as important as defenses. Rena gathered them in the command room. We may face the Empire soon. You three have proven your skills. I trust you to act wisely. The safety of this station and many lives may depend on your decisions. Milo nodded. We understand. We will do what is necessary to protect everyone. Here, Vela added, and we will survive. We know how to use the environment, how to act fast, and how to outsmart them. We are ready, Lear's small voice spoke up, firm and confident. We are a team. We will help. We can do this together. Rena studied them for a moment, then nodded. Very well. We prepare for their arrival. And remember, cleverness and courage often outweigh power. As the day turned to night, Milo walked to the observation deck. He looked at the stars, thinking about how far they had come. From a simple job for credits to running from the Empire and seeking allies. Their journey had grown more dangerous and more important than he could have imagined. He watched Lyre and Vela training with the rebels. Lear's small hands moved quickly and confidently, while Vela demonstrated precise movements and careful observation. Milo felt pride and hope. They were learning, growing, and becoming capable of facing whatever challenges lay ahead. The Empire would come, and when they did, Milo, Lyre, and Vela would not be helpless. They had gained knowledge, allies, and courage. Together, they could stand against the power that hunted them, and Milo knew, deep in his heart, that ordinary people, when brave, clever, and united, could achieve extraordinary things. The stars outside the asteroid station stretched endlessly. Milo knew that the road ahead would be difficult, full of danger and uncertainty. But he also knew that they were stronger than they had been alone, and with trust, skill, and determination, they could face the Empire and continue their journey, protecting each other and fighting for freedom. The freighter lifted off from the rebel asteroid under the cover of darkness. Milo piloted it carefully through the void, keeping the ship's lights low and avoiding sensor detection. Lyra sat beside him, eyes sharp on the controls, and Vela monitored communications and nearby traffic. The Empire's patrols are getting closer, Vela said, her voice calm but serious. They have likely traced our last jump. We must be ready. Milo nodded. We are ready, but we need a place to prepare for what comes next, somewhere we can use the terrain to our advantage. Hours later, they arrived at a deserted moon. Its surface was rocky, with deep craters and jagged cliffs. Milo guided the freighter into a hidden valley, using the shadows of the cliffs for cover. The moon was uninhabited and perfect for planning a defense. This will work, Milo said. Stepping out onto the rocky surface, we can use the craters and cliffs to hide, and the Empire will have difficulty tracking us here. Lyra bounded down the ramp, eager to explore. I can help. We can set up traps. Vela followed, moving silently over the uneven ground. We must be careful. They are intelligent, and they will anticipate tricks. We need strategy, not just speed. Milo surveyed the area. We split tasks. Lyre, you help with sensor checks and marking safe paths. Vela, you plan the diversions. I will coordinate the defenses and monitor their movements for the rest of the day. They worked tirelessly. Lyra learned to place small signal disruptors to confuse the Empire's sensors. Vela scouted the higher cliffs, finding natural choke points and narrow passes where they could control the enemy's movements. Milo reinforced the freighter's shields and created automated warnings using the ship's systems. By nightfall, they were ready. Milo called a meeting near the freighter. Tomorrow, the Empire will arrive. We do not have their numbers, but we have skill, strategy, and the terrain. We fight smart, not reckless. Remember, we survive together. Lyra nodded, determination clear in his eyes. We will do our best. I am ready. Vela placed a hand on Milo's shoulder. I trust you, Milo. We all trust each other. That is more powerful than any ship or weapon. The first signs of the Empire came just before dawn. Small reconnaissance. Ships appeared in the moon's thin atmosphere. Milo and Vela watched from the cliffs. Analyzing their movement, the Empire scouts were precise, but they were being lured into the traps Milo and Vela had set. Stay calm, Milo whispered. We act when they are close enough. Lyra hid behind a large rock, operating the signal disruptors. When the scouts passed by, their instruments malfunctioned, sending them off course. Milo and Vela watched their confusion with satisfaction. The traps were working perfectly. As the main fleet approached, Milo moved the freighter to a higher position, using its size to create a false target. Vela directed Lyra to trigger small explosions and lights across the valley, creating multiple distractions. The Empire ships focused on the wrong targets, giving Milo and Vela an advantage now. Milo shouted. The freighter released a series of automated drones, which moved quickly through narrow paths, striking at sensors and communication arrays on the enemy ships. Lyra controlled a small squad remotely, guiding them to confuse the Empire further. Vela climbed a cliff and observed the battlefield, signaling Milo to adjust the freighter's shields and position. They are focusing on the drones. Move to the left ridge to block their approach, she instructed. Milo maneuvered the freighter carefully. The Empire ships collided with natural obstacles in the rocky terrain, and several were forced to retreat or become immobilized. Lyra's eyes shone with excitement. It's working. They can't find us. Vela nodded. Good. Keep going. Do not underestimate them. They will adapt. Ours passed with intense activity. Milo, Lyra, and Vela coordinated perfectly, using clever tactics, terrain advantages, and the element of surprise. They were outnumbered, but their teamwork kept the Empire off balance. Small ships were disabled, communication disrupted, and the enemy's advance slowed dramatically. Finally, the Empire fleet began to withdraw. Their commander realized that the moon's terrain, combined with the clever resistance of the small group, made the pursuit too costly. Milo, Lyra, and Vela stood silently, watching the retreating ships disappear into the void. Lyra jumped up, cheering softly. We did it. We really did it. Milo smiled, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. We survived because we were careful, clever, and worked together. Bravery alone is not enough. Strategy and trust saved us today. Vela stepped down from the cliff, her eyes scanning the horizon. The Empire will return eventually, but today, we showed them that they cannot underestimate us. We are stronger than they think. That night, they rested near the freighter, exhausted but proud. Milo taught Lyra a small lesson about observation and patience. Cleverness often wins over power. Remember that, Lyra. Always think ahead. Lyra nodded. I will. Dad, I want to be ready for anything. Vela smiled faintly. And you will. You are learning quickly. Both of you are becoming formidable. Milo looked at the freighter, the moon's cliffs, and the endless stars above. He realized how far they had come from a simple job for credits to surviving the Empire's pursuit. Forming trust and fighting intelligently, each challenge had made them stronger, and the bond between them had grown unbreakable. Outside the freighter, the moon was quiet again. Milo, Lyra, and Vela knew this peace was temporary. The Empire would not give up, but they also knew that they had grown more capable, more clever, and more united. They had survived against overwhelming odds and proven that courage, intelligence, and teamwork could triumph even against a powerful enemy. Milo placed his hand on Lyra's shoulder once more. Whatever comes next, we face it together. Today was a victory, but tomorrow we prepare for what lies ahead. Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. I'm ready, Dad. We will be ready for anything. Vela added, and we will survive. Together, we are stronger than any threat. The freighter rested silently under the stars, hidden in the shadows of the moon's cliffs. Milo, Lyra, and Vela slept knowing that they had survived the Empire's attack, learned to trust each other completely, and discovered their true strength. The stars stretched endlessly above, a reminder that danger and adventure would always be present, but also that bravery, cleverness, and unity could overcome even the greatest threats. Milo smiled, confident that whatever challenge came next, they would face it together, stronger than ever before. The freighter floated above the moon as Milo, Lyra, and Vela prepared for what they knew would be the final confrontation. The Empire had discovered their location again. Milo studied the sensors carefully, noting the approach of multiple large ships. They were fast, heavily armed, and determined. There was no time to run. They would have to face them, and they would have to do it cleverly. Lyra stood beside Milo, eyes wide but determined. Dad, are we really going to fight them? Milo placed a hand on his son's shoulder. We will do more than fight, Lyra. We will outsmart them. Remember what we learned on the moon and at the asteroid. Bravery and cleverness together can win where power alone cannot. Vela moved to the freighter's control panel, her hands flying over the buttons. I have prepared diversions, traps, and shields. If we act quickly and use the terrain, we can force them to retreat. But we must stay united and focused. Milo nodded. Everyone knows their role. Lyra, you handle the drones and signal disruptors. Vela, coordinate diversions. I will control the freighter and direct the battle. Trust each other and follow instructions exactly. The first Empire ships entered the moon's orbit. Their light swept across the rocky surface, scanning for any sign of the fugitives. Milo activated the freighter's cloaking system, lowering visibility, while the automated drones began moving in patterns designed to confuse the sensors. Lyra's small hands worked quickly on the console. Drones are in position. Sensors are disrupted. Vela observed from the cliffs above, using her knowledge of the Empire's tactics. They are focusing on the wrong areas. Keep it that way. Make them chase shadows. The Empire fleet moved closer, unaware that the freighter and its small crew had prepared a series of traps. Milo guided the ship through a narrow canyon, forcing the enemy ships to follow in single file. The drones created false targets, sending the Empire ships into collisions with rocks and cliffs. Lyra smiled. It's working. They can't follow us properly. Vela nodded. Good, but they will adapt quickly. Prepare the next step. Milo maneuvered the freighter to a high ridge, where it could release energy pulses to disable the sensors of approaching ships. The pulses sent the Empire into confusion, forcing them to slow down. Milo signaled Lyra to trigger additional drones, which created more false readings. The Empire commander realized the deception and tried to order a concentrated attack. But Milo had anticipated this. Using the terrain, the freighter, and the drones, they created choke points, forcing the enemy ships into narrow passes where their numbers were useless. Vela directed Lyra to set small automated barriers along the paths. They will not expect obstacles here. We can control their movement. The Empire ships, caught in traps and distractions, struggled to advance. Milo adjusted the freighter's shields to protect against stray fire and guided the ship to keep the pressure on the enemy without taking unnecessary risks. Hours passed with careful maneuvering. The Empire's fleet began to tire, their ships damaged by collisions and traps. Milo, Lyra, and Vela remained focused, coordinating perfectly. Every movement, every signal, and every diversion worked. Together. Finally, the Empire commander decided the cost was too high. Withdraw immediately. Continue pursuit another day. The order came through. The remaining ships retreated into space, leaving the freighter and the small moon behind. Milo, Lyra, and Vela allowed themselves a moment of relief. They had survived, outsmarted a superior force, and proven that courage, intelligence, and teamwork could overcome even the most powerful enemies. Lyra jumped with excitement. We did it! We really did it! Milo smiled, holding his son close. Yes, we did. Today we learned something important. Power is not enough. Cleverness, courage, and trust can change the outcome of any battle. Vela stepped down from the ridge, smiling faintly, and together, we are stronger than the Empire thinks. They underestimated us because they did not expect humans and aliens to work as one. That night, Milo, Lyra, and Vela rested in the freighter. Milo looked out at the stars, reflecting on their journey. What had begun as a simple job for credits had become a fight for survival. Trust and freedom, each challenge had made them stronger, closer, and more capable. Vela spoke quietly. I have been running alone for so long. I forgot what it meant to trust someone. Now I see that trust, courage, and teamwork can change the course of our lives. You both have shown me that. Lyra smiled sleepily, and I have learned that even when things are scary, we can face them together. We are unstoppable if we stick together. Milo felt a deep sense of pride. You are both right. Together, We are stronger. We can face anything. The Empire may come again, but they will never underestimate us. The next day, they made repairs to the freighter and reviewed their plans. Milo taught Lyra how to anticipate danger and plan multiple steps ahead. Vela shared advanced tactics, showing them how to analyze enemy behavior and use clever strategies. Lyra absorbed every lesson, growing more confident and skilled with each passing hour. Before leaving the moon, Milo looked at the horizon. We cannot stay in one place too long. The Empire will continue searching. But today we proved something important. We are capable of facing impossible odds. Vela nodded. And we have allies among the rebels. We are not alone, and we can continue to fight smart, not just fight hard. Lyra grinned. I'm ready for the next adventure. We can do anything together. Milo smiled at his son and Vela. Yes, we can. No matter how powerful the enemy, courage, intelligence, and trust will guide us. We will survive, and we will protect each other. That is what matters most. The freighter lifted off the moon, heading toward the stars. Milo, Lyra, and Vela sat together, looking at the endless expanse of space. They had survived the Empire's hunt, learned to trust one another completely, and discovered their true strength. Milo realized that a simple job for credits had changed his life forever. He was no longer just a miner or a traveler. He was a protector, a strategist, and a father. Lyra was no longer just a child. He was brave, clever, and ready to face any challenge. Vela, once alone and hunted, had found trust and friendship among humans. As the stars stretched endlessly ahead, Milo knew one truth. Danger and adventure would always follow them, but together, they could face anything. Courage, cleverness, and loyalty had turned ordinary people into heroes. And Milo, Lyra, and Vela were ready for whatever the future held. The freighter moved silently through space, carrying three souls who had become a family by choice and by trust. The Empire was powerful, but their unity, intelligence, and courage were stronger. They had survived, and they would continue to survive, no matter what the galaxy sent their way.